From the suspect who hid in the porta potty to the rescue of the blind man, we're putting you behind the badge, so buckle up for an exciting ride. You won't believe the real-life stories captured in this bodycam footage. Enjoy yourself as you keep watching. Man falls onto Brooklyn subway tracks. Suleiman Rifai, a visually impaired 61-year-old man, fell face-first onto the rails at the Grant Street station on May 18, 2022. Luckily, Rifai was already bleeding when two housing police officers posted to a train station, Officer Jason Macaluso and Detective Henry Greco, grabbed him and dragged him to safety. Detective Greco claimed that after initially hearing the train approaching, they noticed its light. He then waved his arms and deflected the train with his torch to slow it down. The elderly man was then swiftly removed by them. When the three of them got together at the MTA's monthly board meeting, Rifai praised the two policemen. Officer Jason Macaluso and Detective Henry Greco were bestowed with the MTA's Hero of the Subway recognition, which is the highest accolade bestowed upon a non-employee. Man accused of murder, leading police on a chase. On June 7, 2023, after a police chase, a Dayton man was taken into custody and is now being charged with murder. According to court documents submitted Friday afternoon in Dayton Municipal Court, William Gary Hefner, 57, was charged with 2 charges of murder, 3 counts of felonious assault, 1 act of tampering with evidence, and 1 count of failure to comply with the officers. Hefner is charged with killing a guy on June 1st morning after firing a gun on Center Street in Dayton. According to an affidavit and statement of facts, when officers arrived on the scene, they discovered the victim, who was only identified as a 48-year-old man, had a single gunshot wound to the chest area. He passed away shortly after. Police learnt Hefner had left the site in a red pickup and had been named as a suspect in the shooting while they were on the scene. His truck was seen on camera the following day, but Hefner had allegedly altered it to avoid detection and hide his movements. Around 8 p.m. on Wednesday, a Dayton police officer noticed Hefner's pickup and started to pursue it. However, the pursuit came to a stop when Hefner wrecked close to the Salem Avenue and Denlinger Road intersection in Trotwood, as previously reported by News Center 7. According to court documents, the chase reached speeds of more than 100 miles per hour. Hefner allegedly ran stop signs and red lights, weaving into oncoming traffic. Although they were unable to identify the man when he was taken into custody, police at the crash scene notified News Center 7 that he was a homicide suspect. Hefner's court appearance was set for this Friday afternoon. He's still on the Montgomery County Jail's booking list. Gerald will be imprisoned for the remainder of his life unless he pays the $1 million requested by the judge. A suspect was found in a porta potty on a golf course. On Wednesday, November 15, 2020, at around 11:30 a.m., police made an effort to stop a stolen SUV that was seen on Port Washington Road in Minnesota. Their truck included stop sticks, which a cop took and hurled onto the motorway. Before swerving off the road and into the grass, the SUV crashed with 2 more automobiles. Then the 4 of them got out of the vehicle and drove off. One of the suspects' travels came to an abrupt stop when he was apprehended right away. One of the suspects fled to the Lincoln Park golf course after the SUV crashed, scattering the others. He hid in a porta potty, but unfortunately for the culprit, there were 2 neighbors on the field who heard the police siren. The astute golfer used the porta potty to trap the culprit and hold him until the cops could arrive. Officers arrived with their pistols drawn a few moments later and removed the suspect from the porta potty. When he came out, the officers had to handle him with gloves since he stank. The victims of the vehicle accident were transported to the hospital for medical attention, though they only had minor wounds. Ohio deputy picked up in loader. A suspect on a skid steer loader utilized the apparatus on January 11, 2024 to pick up an officer from the ground and carry on with his escape. Zachary Henry, the culprit, was running from the officers who were chasing the piece of equipment on foot. To stop Henry, one of the officers gets into the car. The cop is then taken out of the car by Henry using the loader. He carries him about in the loader's front bucket before lowering him to the ground. According to the report, officers pursued Henry until he drove the car into a pond where it got stuck. Then he exited the car and ran away on foot. Henry is accused of resisting arrest and assaulting a police officer. Although he is not in detention, he has an arrest warrant out for him. troopers pulled man from burning truck. A state trooper's routine traffic check swiftly transformed into a race against time as he assisted a man in getting out of a flaming truck just before it exploded on a New Jersey roadway. At around 3:30 p.m. on Monday, March 2nd, 2020, while conducting a traffic stop on I-287 North in Bridgewater Township, New Jersey State Trooper Robert Tarleton was issuing a ticket when a tractor-trailer adjacent went off the side of the road in the fast lanes. Before catching fire, the truck collided with a guardrail and a bridge abutment. Trooper Tarleton sprang into action right away, calling for emergency personnel and the fire department before heading in the direction of the flaming car. Tarleton dashed in the direction of the completely burning truck. In the meantime, 63-year-old Ron Hickman was being pulled from the taxi by New Jersey State Police Lieutenant Edward Ryer, who had seen the collision while traveling home from work. Ryer claimed that the reason he didn't first see him was the smoke in the cab, and he was calling out to make sure he was inside because of the tremendous heat. Then, the two soldiers collaborated to extract Hickman, and as soon as they did, the vehicle blew up. After sustaining minor injuries, Hickman, who is married and has 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren, was brought to Morristown Medical Center for further assessment. According to Hickman's relatives, he experienced a medical emergency just before the collision. They thanked Ryer and Tarleton for saving his life. After his valiant efforts, Tarleton, who has only been out of the academy for 9 months, remains humble. Even if it's an unusual situation, he remarked, it's their job. Meanwhile, Ryer feels relieved that they were both present at the appropriate time. He said thanks to God for giving them the strength to help Mr. Hickman at that precise moment, and for sending them there. Authorities are still looking into what caused the collision. Police and firefighter saved a driver. When the region saw torrential rain and a rising flood on September 14, 2023, Atlanta police reported that the 911 contact center for the city was overrun by weather-related emergency calls. A driver in Atlanta found himself stranded inside his car when heavy rain caused substantial flooding. On Peachtree Street, close to Atlanta's public safety headquarters, a police officer noticed significant flooding and noticed a vehicle in the center of the road that was partially flooded. In the footage, the officer can be seen hurrying to the car that the driver is stuck in. The front end of the car was underwater, and the water was so deep that it had begun to float. Simon was close to the car, attempting to save the driver, when Officer Brian arrived. As shown in the video, Brian pulled out his baton and cracked the car's driver's side glass when Simon yelled for the driver to turn around. At that point, Simon managed to get the driver out through the window. Brian and Simon accompanied the driver cautiously through the inundated areas until they managed to securely transfer the unidentified individual into a neighboring police car. According to a spokesman for Atlanta Police, the driver of the submerged car was examined by emergency medical personnel following the collision and opted not to be taken to receive additional medical care. Officer Ryan O'Brien of the Atlanta Police Department and Captain Terrence Simon of Atlanta Fire Rescue are 2 people in whom the police expressed great pride in their acts on Facebook. Their handling of this serious situation is another illustration of the dedication their city has shown to having qualified, equipped, and experienced first responders on hand when needed. These incidents serve as a timely reminder of the unpredictability of life and the tiny boundary between danger and safety. They also highlight the critical role that law enforcement plays in our society. Let's show our gratitude for consistently placing ourselves in danger to protect our communities. We hope you enjoyed the video. Kindly drop your comments in the section below. To see more videos on police body cam from this channel, hit the like, share and subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe.